Nations Environment Programme.
We are facing an existential crisis.
Unlike anything the world has ever seen.
We need to take action.
Everyone has to stand up.
The warning is not a new one.
Our world faces a triple planetary crisis of climate change, nature loss and pollution.
For generations, humanity, often without realizing it, has been destroying the natural world. In the name of progress, we have polluted the Earth's oceans, chopped down its forests and clouded its skies. Today, nature and our own survival rest on a knife's edge.
It's time to ratchet up the action that we need to have at the country level.
The United Nations Environment Programme was established with one goal in mind: to unite the world in saving our planet.
It is clear that the environmental crisis which is confronting the world will profoundly alter the future destiny of our planet.
For 5 decades, UNEP has used science and its mandate to bring the world together to help nations find solutions to grave environmental threats.
What is this pollution that we have heard so much about?
The Mediterranean is sick. It's being poisoned slowly but steadily for those who need it most.
The 1970s found a world grappling with an unprecedented crisis of pollution. Could the seemingly irreparable damage be undone? UNEP inspired the world to take action, preventing oil spills and toxic discharge by ships, uniting 143 coastal states to limit ocean pollution and save marine life, reducing air pollution and ending the scourge of acid rain. But soon, the world would face its biggest environmental challenge yet.
The destruction of the ozone layer on a global scale is no longer just a theory. The hole over the Antarctica is no longer an isolated seasonal phenomenon.
If the breach continued to grow, the planet would suffer lethal levels of ultraviolet radiation, harming human health, biodiversity, and climate. In 1987, UNEP facilitated the Montreal Protocol. Over 30 countries agreed to phase out the production of almost 100 ozone-depleting substances. The protocol remains one of the greatest achievements of multilateralism.
All nations gathered here to be proud of what we have achieved.
This success set the tone for a series of powerful accords, limiting the movement of toxic waste across borders, protecting the Earth from dangerous, long-lasting chemicals, and restricting the international trade in mercury. Most recently, in 2021, UNEP finished a 2-decade-long campaign to rid the world of highly toxic leaded petrol, saving an estimated 1 million lives each year. As the world grappled with pollution and waste, another crisis was brewing.
I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see.
Poaching and habitat loss were pushing some of the world's most iconic animals to the brink of extinction. Driven by science, UNEP supported a series of international treaties, limiting and in some cases banning the seminal Earth Summit in Brazil introduced the idea of sustainable development.
This is an historical moment for the mobilization of all peoples of the world.
Over the last 5 decades, UNEP has helped more than 100 countries enshrine the right to a healthy environment in their constitutions and produced scientific studies to guide member states in their decision-making. In 2012, a new international body was established to provide scientific data on biodiversity in a joint effort from UNEP and other UN organizations. In 2019, it found that 1 million species face the threat of extinction, underscoring the urgency to act.
Every action we take alters the earth that future generations will inherit.
The world is starting to recognize the effects of planetary warming, but UNEP began sounding the alarm 3 decades ago. As early as 1988, UNEP and the World Meteorological Organization launched the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. For over 30 years, IPCC science has helped member states counter climate change, earning the body a Nobel Prize for its work. UNEP-backed studies have informed some of the planet's most crucial climate accords. These include a 1992 agreement that set a template for curbing greenhouse gas emissions, followed by the Kyoto Protocol and the landmark 2015 Paris Agreement.
I'm proud to announce that 175 parties have signed the Paris Agreement.
UNEP has also mobilized 450 banks, insurers and investors to help create a more sustainable world.
We don't want fossil fuels anymore.
A lot has happened in the last 50 years, but it's the next 10 that will be pivotal for life on this planet.
But in fact, what you and I and other ordinary people around the world can do will not by itself save the natural world. The great decisions, the great disasters that face us can only be dealt with by governments. And that's why this organization is so important.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be hearing me from and wherever you're joining from this afternoon. I hope we are fine, and I hope everyone is doing great this great day. It's a pleasure to have you on the call with us this very afternoon, and we are also delighted to be here with you this great day. I see many of you are joined as early as possible, which is one of the key qualities of great individuals, especially mentees who are on a journey to excellence. I like to recognize a few of you on the call with us this afternoon. I see Sarah Nasimiyu. She was the first person to join the call this afternoon. I see Emmanuel Segaye. I see Elroy. I see Godfrey. I see Mr. Benny. I see Ugoke. I see Clifford. And a whole lot of other persons that time would not allow me to mention their names. I think I failed to ask you this afternoon. Maybe you want to drop in the chat. How are you doing this afternoon and where are you joining us from? I can already see someone from Nigeria. I can also see, okay, this is Terry from Kenya. I see Edward Tizala from Malawi. Okay, I can also see Maureen from South Africa. I can also see George from Tanzania. I see everyone in the call, and it's wonderful having you on the call with us this afternoon. So while we keep introducing ourselves in the chat, I also would love to know what are the expectations you have for this section this afternoon. Of course, I could readily see that some of you were saying that you're delighted to be on this call. You're happy to be part of the mentorship program. Someone is just saying, I'm fine, I'm excited to start classes. Okay, that's fantastic. So it is my joy to ask you, what are your expectations for this call this afternoon? What do you intend to achieve, attending this class this afternoon? So if you do not mind, you may just do well to, tell us what you think are your expectations for this section this afternoon. I see some of you commenting that the volume is low, the audio quality is low. That's fine. I think it should be much better now. So if you can just confirm if it is much better now or it's just the same, just so I know what to do. Okay, what's my audio like now? Is it still low? Okay, audio is great now. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. All right, not to delay any further. We are happy to have one of the industry's finest with us this afternoon. As oh, the volume is still low. Volume is still low. Let me look into that. Let me look at that. Okay. Just give me 1 minute there. I'm working on the audio. Let me see what the program is. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yes, I think the volume should not be a problem again now. But the volume should not be a problem. All right, that's fantastic. So yeah, as I was saying, we have okay. All right. All right, I think the volume is much better now. See that in the comments. Okay, it's all right. All right, that's fine. Thank you very much. So we have our facilitator on the call this afternoon, and the person we have with us on the call this afternoon is someone who you all love to meet. I'm very sure of that. And very quickly, I want to introduce who we have here with us this afternoon on the call. However, before, okay, someone said the volume is good now. Thank you very much. I love that the class is quite engaging and everyone is really keeping up with us as we move. So I remember I asked every one of you to share with me what the expectations are for this section, and I can already see that going on in the chat. Someone says is very excited to announce the learning exposures from this afternoon section. Another person is saying my expectations are to help you to become empowered so as to be able to help myself and my community. Another person is saying I expect to gain more knowledge on how to develop my solution proposal. All right, that's fine. That is not a problem. All of these we are going to be getting right. And also, I must mention that beyond just that, we are still going to be learning a whole lot of things on this call this afternoon. So very quickly, I love to introduce our facilitator for this afternoon section to us, and that is Madam Funto Borofis. And Madam Funto Borofis is the founder and CEO of the award-winning Chanjadati Limited, a waste collection and recycling social enterprise dedicated to transforming the waste in her environment to value and creating jobs. And Kudroloop, another fintech startup providing access to working capital for Nigeria SMEs especially women awarded SMEs. She started her career in the US, where she spent 17 years gaining global experience, another 12 of which were with GE as an executive. In the last 8+ years, our organization has successfully diverted almost 16,200 tons from uncontrolled landfills and empowered 500+ women and at-risk youths. Our organization currently has 200+ employees. Definitely, I see you would agree with me this afternoon that Madam Funto is having such a great profile, and definitely everything that we have read from the profile makes it evident, that she's definitely one of the best hands that you can learn from this afternoon. While I look at the comment area to still see your reactions and more of what you're hoping to learn on this session this afternoon, I also want you to use your emojis and your chat reactions to show how well you are happy to be meeting Madam Funto this afternoon, just before she opens the camera. And when I don't see enough reactions to show that you are very much expectant and willing to learn from her, maybe she's not going to open her camera. So let me see in the chat how well do you want to welcome her onto this call this afternoon. Are those actions ongoing? I can't almost see any actions for now. Okay, I can see your reactions already. So, Madam Funto, we are glad to have you join us on this call this afternoon. We are happy and we are grateful that you have found out time out of your busy schedule to join us right on this call this afternoon.
Hi everyone. Good morning. It's actually really early morning my time here in Chicago. I'm actually in the US. But it was my pleasure it's been my pleasure and it is my pleasure to join everybody. And I'm looking forward to just sharing some insights around the topic which again I was given, which is around innovation and technology to advance sustainable development. First of all, I would say a huge well done to the AIIDEV team for all the work that they're doing and the strides they're making to not only share the work around sustainable development goals, but to ensure that there is the next sort of generation coming up that is aware and sensitized around what is obtainable and available, and is trained and equipped to be able to make that switch and to be able to contribute to finding solutions for a lot of issues that we are facing. So I wanted to know, how many people do we have on the call right now? Because depending on if we're expecting more people to join, I might show the video maybe later, and then just go through my presentation. So how many people do we have right now?
We have over 300 live.
Okay, we have over 300. Okay, so I think I can start with sharing a few videos from my screen, if that is okay, joining from YouTube. Okay, so hopefully I can share a few videos from my screen to just sort of highlight some of the work that we're doing. It's going to be 4 videos. The longest one of them is probably no longer than 3 minutes. And so I hope that communication and the volume would work. But let me just, how do I share? Because there's only one participant can share at a time. Can you give me either co-host rights or?
You're already a co-host, Ma. You have access to share.
Okay, excellent. So let me start with this one. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to just, and this is our factory in Abuja. Is the volume loud enough?
No, we really can't hear the audio.
I know the volume was not really clear, but hopefully the videos will tell the story, if that makes sense. So if we can just watch a few and then we can go from there.
Okay.
And then I wanted to quickly share one more video or two more videos, if you don't mind.
Hello, ma. Can you drop the link to these videos if we can just run it from our end and see if it's going to pop up?
Sorry, say that again.
Can you drop the link to the videos? We can run it from our back end at the studio here and to enable the audio as well.
Okay. Okay. Can everybody still hear me? I'll share the links. I'll definitely share the links maybe afterwards, and those links can be shared with everybody to watch. The only reason why I played them was because hopefully visually, and then this last one, it was subtitled, so maybe people could read, but hopefully people were able to follow it. But the reason why I wanted to really share the videos is because a lot of people are also very visual, right? So being able to see exactly what we do at Chanjadati would be very crucial or very important for a lot of people. So I'll quickly just share my slide now, and then we can sort of get into the meat of our presentation. But again, with the backdrop of what I just shared with everybody. Yeah. So again, the topic that can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So again, the topic that I'm talking about today is innovation and technology to advance the Sustainable Development Goals. And it would be remiss of me not to sort of reintroduce myself, and really highlight the tool that we're using to sort of achieve this, our inroads into Sustainable Development Goals. So this is me in front of a sea of plastic behind me in one of our locations in Abuja. And what we do is that we are really, at the end of the day, revolutionizing plastic waste recycling to promote people, planet, profits, and partnerships. So I call it the 4 Ps, or the 3 Ps plus 1, which is the partnerships. And the reason why I'm really highlighting those 4 Ps, right, is because, like we saw in the videos, especially with Hajia Rukaya and her children, the people is really the central part of what we're about. For me, anyway, that is what drives me. That is what keeps me up at night. That is what gets me up in the morning. It's really the people side, and to some degree, the planet side of things, right? And as everybody sort of knows, or maybe people don't know, plastic, in as much as it has been a useful tool to help just industrialization, we've started finding out that there's also like a not so great side of plastic when it's not being disposed of properly. So like a plastic bottle, right, could end up on our landfills for over 400 years and not degrade, or degrade in very microplastic particles that is not good for the environment. And so what it was our charge, right? Our charge was, how do we sort of not only collect these plastic bottles, although we collect other materials, but plastic, I would say, is 80% of what we do or collect. But how do we process it so that we can create not only semi-raw materials that are used for in manufacturing sectors in Nigeria, but also create jobs on the continent? And so those are the 2 things that sort of is our clarion call, like our call to action. This is what Chanjadati is about. And so what is the problem? Like I mentioned, manufacturers in plastic and food and beverage sector are in dire need of valuable raw materials. So there's excess demand, but inefficient supply. Environmental impact. In Nigeria today alone, there's 64 million tons of waste generated per year. And of that number, I think it's like 2.53 million is plastic waste. And only 10 to 20% of it is collected. The rest end up in our landfills, in our communities, in our waterways. And then the issue around climate change, which again, I'm sure all of you are aware of, the fact that if we use just the process of production for virgin plastics increases greenhouse gas emissions, right? The collection process is also very carbon foil dependent, right? So this also contributes to climate change. And I want to, in as much as this is a presentation, I also want people, as I'm going through, to please start either thinking of questions, formulating questions, because I really, want this to be, at the end of the day, my presentation is not going to be 60 minutes for sure. So I'm hoping that, as I'm going through all this, people are taking notes, and that we can, make it very much interactive, right? So the use of innovation, and this is where I think, we've started the work, but I think we still, and when I say we change that, we still have a long way to go, right? But one of the things we've done in the very recent time is that we have started using digital technology, right, to solve for this problem. And so what do I mean by that? We recently, like a year ago, launched our recycling mobile application to help us not only with household requests for pickups, but we're using it to also pay our recyclers, right? So there's a digital wallet attached to it. And then one of the other things we've done is that we're using electric motorbikes as well for collection. And the reason why we're trying to do that is because we're trying to decarbonize the collection process. So again, when we're talking about use of technology to solve some of the sustainable development issues, for us, this is one of the ways that we're doing this. And there are a lot of ways to be able to do this, right? And so how are we, again, using technology? We're using the latest cloud-based technology, right? So there's a track and trace feature here where it allows us to capture auditable chain of custody from collection point through circular remanufactured products. There's a lot of conversation now around traceability. This allows us to be able to trace where our bottles are coming from, where they're ending up. There's the whole reward system is leveraged on what we're hoping to do around QR code payments. And we are now even looking at, we're in talks right now with a few people to use AI to be able to sort of recognize different types of plastic bottles and be able to understand, which should enter our production process and which shouldn't. So again, we keep on looking at ways to sort of use or leverage technology to be able to advance the work that we're doing. In terms of just the impact, right, and with regards to SDGs, right, since our inception, diversion of plastic is over 8.2 million kilograms. And that number is quite still. But this again affects number 13 and number 14 in terms of the SDGs, right? In terms of our social impact, we have over 800 women through our Women Recyclers Economic Empowerment, and over 5,000 WIS speakers who we've been able to support. So again, SDG 5 and 1, no poverty, gender equality. And I would dare say even SDG 4 with quality education, because we've been able to support over 800 children to go to school. Like you saw the video with Hajia Rukayat, being able to send 3 of her children to school. And then the economic part of things, right? We're contributing to income distribution and the recycling industry growth rate by creating a sustainable circular economy. And you saw like videos of one of our factories in Abuja. And so this is sort of like, I wanted to also show, because for me, the SDGs, the innovation and technology would not be viable if there was no proper business model around it. And for everybody who's watching or listening, this is so critical. You need to be able to have a viable business model around any enterprise that you're doing. Otherwise, it ends up being a charity, or it ends up being a nice to have that doesn't have legs to stand on. And you might have the best ideas, you might have the best intentions, but if there's not a model behind it that is generating money to be able to ensure that that product or that service continues, I would say within like no more than 12 months, if you struggle and you try hard, that enterprise will be dead. So please, please, please ensure that you have a viable business model. And so for us, this is what it looks like, right? Not only do we sell flakes, pellets, and bales, which you saw in the video, and that is 85% of our revenue. But we offer additional services like waste collection services, and then we, have other revenue streams like supply of equipment, materials, training and consultancy, which is another 15% of our revenue. But this is what really makes up, our work, right? This is what really allows us to be able to stand on our own feet and, generate revenue. And again, for me, that is the end of my presentation. This is just a snapshot of some of my staff at our factory. If you look at the picture well, you see that there are a lot of women who are part of our factory workers as well. I'm really excited because a lot of these women started as, people who were just removing the covers and the labels. Again, if some of you saw the video, you'll see that we had women who were working and removing covers and labels, and they've been able to sort of migrate to actually working in the factory now, being able to use, I think we have 2 women who are learning how to drive the forklift. But we're very bullish about ensuring that, as I showed earlier on, gender equality, and especially because I'm a woman, that gender equality is high up in our agenda of things that we're looking to solve for. So I'm going to stop sharing because, I'm sure you guys have heard and have seen a lot of presentations and you've had a lot of people speak. I really want this to be very interactive, to be honest. So I'm open to questions. I'm open to, having people just, again, any questions that you have around this. I would be honored and interested in hearing what that is, and seeing how I can real time answer those questions. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Funto. I must say that you have fantastic and a great business model at your organization. And yeah, readily I can see a lot of reactions going on in the chat here at the YouTube. Of course, I can see some of them already mentioning that they can relate with the initiative. And yeah, someone is asking from Kenya, I think this is Lina. Lina is saying, can we completely do without plastics as a way of ending plastic pollution?
So I would say no. And sometimes when I say this, these people look at me weird, but I'm a fan of plastic, actually, to be honest, because the use of plastic in our everyday life cannot be, and the inroads we've been able to make in terms of industrialization, I don't think we can sort of discount. So for anybody who wears glasses, for example, the lens, the handle for your glasses, everything is potentially made out of plastic. Anybody watching online, if you're using a computer, there are parts of your computer that are made out of plastic. If anybody, even the shirt that Maiwa is wearing, I'm sure the buttons are made out of plastic. Potentially, even the material, if I don't know what kind of, if that's cotton or polyester, but polyester materials are made out of plastic. So the foil that so I could go on and on about the use of plastic, I'm holding up, this vitamin C container, right? This medicine is inside a plastic container. I have this lip gloss here. It's inside the plastic container. I could go on and on. We all use our phones, right? The casing of our phones is potentially made out of maybe 70% of plastic. I say this to say that the problem is not the use of plastic. The problem is with how we dispose of the plastic that is single use or that we don't, that we don't need to use all the time. I will again say that the problem is not with plastic, it's with us as users and how we dispose of the plastic. So if we were all disposing of the plastic properly, plastic that we all use properly, I don't think it would be a problem because we can reuse the plastic, right? And one of the things that my slide did not show, but I wanted to mention was that for us, right, I mentioned something about, sustainable circular economy. There are companies in the textile industry that use PET. So those flakes that you saw us making, right, are turned into fiber for clothing. There are companies in the food and beverage sector who are repurposing plastic into everything from clamshells for sandwiches to new PET bottles, right? There are companies in the plastic manufacturing company sector that are making buckets, bowls, slippers from plastic. So it's a thriving and a very useful sector or product. Again, the issue is how do we dispose of plastic that we no longer feel is viable for usage? And that's my clarion call to everybody, or my call to action to everybody. Because each time I have talks like this, which I enjoy immensely because it allows me to be able to get on my soapbox and educate people as well. I'm sure if I was going to take a poll, right, and I asked, when last did you or someone you know or someone you saw as you're driving in a car or whatever, wind down as they're drinking, maybe they're buying Coke or whatever in the, a beverage in the, I don't want to use the word Coke, but beverage in the traffic. And maybe they'll buy like a pastry in the traffic, right? Or cake or whatever. And then once they're done, they'll just wind down and toss it out of the window. I'm sure we've all seen people like that, or some of us may be unfortunately guilty of that, right? That is such an improper way of disposing of this waste that can be used for other things. So as long as we have things like that, or we have people like that who are doing that, our work is still cut out for us. And I strongly believe that, again, for me, I'm a big believer in sensitizing and raising awareness around proper disposal of plastic waste, but also opening up avenues for people to be able to understand that, waste is actually a resource. And there are people who are looking for this waste as a resource. And, my job, like I showed on the very first page, is to sort of revolutionize the way that we not only collect this plastic waste, but process it so that we can not only create jobs, but create incomes for people who are really at the bottom of the economic pyramid.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that reply. Someone is already saying that he or she is making baskets out of plastics. And I can see someone is asking here that the pellets that you make from the products, from the plastics that are broken down, that what are the end products of those pellets, that what do you make them into? But I realize that you seem to have answered the question already when you said there's market already waiting for the flakes for use into some other things like clothing, like parts of our phones, the laptop casing, and so many other plastic use. But someone is asking a beautiful question here. The person said, in your startup phase, what were some of the sources of funding that helped seed your initiative and drive your impacts?
That's a great question. So I started ChangeDati over 9 years ago. I was fortunate enough that I was working when I had the brain idea that, I want to set up ChangeDati. So I had also, I think I had just moved back. Not just, but I had moved back from the US probably 3.5 years before that. So I still had a lot of, not a lot, but I still had some savings. So I think it was a combination of my savings, my salary at the time I was doing my youth corps service, because even when I moved back, even though I had graduated a long time ago, but Nigerian rules, right? You have to serve as long as you graduate before 30, you still have to serve when you move back. So I was doing my youth corps service, and then the job transitioned for another 2 years where I was actually working for one of the honorable ministers of power then. This was like 10 years ago. So it was a mix of that, but then I also got some support from family and friends as well. And so people will usually tell you, like, when you want to start, make sure you have your own money, no matter how small, right? Make sure if you have the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, I always advise people, start where you are, for sure. Start where you are. Don't say, if you have only 50,000, don't start saying, I want to start a business of 5 million naira. It's not going to work, right? Start where you are. But once you start, there are ways where you can start the business and not have to spend too much money. So I'll give you an example. In this business that we're in, right? I'll use the example of a gentleman called Lucky. So Lucky was the younger brother of someone that I knew quite well, who worked for my father. So he was a teacher. He studied, I think, guidance and counseling in university and was a teacher. But he was paid, I think his take home was maybe 50K or 20K or something weird per month. And they weren't even paid all the time. So the brother had just told me that, madam, please, maybe you can hire him and everything. I said, look, I don't have work for Lucky, but what I do have is that I can show him the ropes of this business, right? And he can potentially start it with 50K. So what I did was I called him. I said, Lucky, do you speak, depending on the local language of the area you're in, do you speak Hausa? Do you speak Yoruba? Which one do you speak? He said he speaks Hausa. I said, great. So I said, you will go to any of the dump sites or any of the waste landfills around your area where you know people are doing this work. You go and talk to them and you say, look, I want to buy from you waste and I'm going to give you advance. I'm just going to give you advance enough to buy the material. I'm not going to pay you upfront. I said, once you do that, you will now come to us. You will tell us that you have X amount of material. We can help you source for a truck that will buy those materials from where you are, your location. You bring it to us, we'll pay you. And what we pay you will allow you to not only be able to balance the waste picker at the site, but also pay for your transportation. And you will have more than what you were earning as a teacher left over. And that was what he did. I mean, I think the first payment we did, maybe we paid him over, I think we paid him over 200,000 naira. And by the time he deducted 50,000 naira for transportation and another 50,000 naira to balance the waste collector, he had like over 100,000 naira left on him, which would have been like equivalent of maybe 5 months salary. I think his salary was 20,000 or something as a teacher. So, and he did that multiple times where within a period of time, I think he was able to make over 500,000 naira. So this is, and again, I say this as an example to say you don't even really need a lot of money, right? You can be the broker. You know, because I need materials, I need plastic bottles, right? I need recyclable material. And the recyclers at the dump sites need people who will buy from them. You could potentially go there and be the person who will be the go-in-between, right? And connect us. So there are ways that you can do this where you don't need a lot of money. There are really ways. So that story was just to highlight that, you know, so I'll say another thing, that is why you also need mentors and people who have done something like this, right? Because they can sort of teach you the different hacks, right? Where you don't need to go and be looking for 1 million naira before you start your business. You can start where you are. Hopefully that answered the question, but really you can start where you are.
Yes. In fact, while checking through the chat again, I see it's just, many of the participants are very interested in your story, how you started, and I love the fact that the way you answered the question covered just, it answered about 6 other persons who are interested in your journey so far. So someone is asking here again that how do you market your products? So the person is asking that right about today, it appears as though there is abundance of plastics everywhere in Nigeria. So maybe the person is of the perception that, okay, maybe now locally there may not be so much need for the products. And, looking at the number of tons that you have done, the person is trying to know which markets are you selling to and, where you sell to.
So I would say that the problem we have is not a demand and supply problem. To be honest, I can't even meet the demand, both local and international, that I get on my table daily. I can't. The breakdown of what we have is really the collection infrastructure. So I'll give you an example. I said earlier on that for me, for as long as I still see bottles in gutters and sewage networks, our job is not done. When I see people fighting over bottles, say, no, it's my own, no, it's your own, then I know that my job is done. But how to connect the dots, right? And which is why we launched our recycling app. How do we connect the dots from people in the homes to people in schools and offices, right? To collect. And not only collect, but to bring to someone like myself. But not to just bring to someone like myself, but to take to people who are going to use it. So I'll give you an example. Like for me, if I load a 20-ton truck, I have to pay 1 million naira to move that truck from Abuja to Lagos. That's a lot of money for moving just plastic waste, right? But it's because we don't have infrastructure that can process those plastics closer to us in the northern part of Nigeria. So a lot of us have to make the long haul down to the southwest, to Lagos, to Ogun State, to Ibadan, for these bottles to be processed, right? Or maybe up north to maybe Kano, but not even PET so much. If you wanted to do anything recycling with PET, you're going down south to the southwest. But even to be able to collect from different households, to be able to collect from, different schools, hotels, it's something that we're still trying to crack the code for a lot of recyclers. That's the thing that, we're trying to solve for. And so that's why a lot of us, you'll see a lot of apps. One of the things I mentioned in my presentation was the micro recycling pods, right? Which would allow us to be able to move processing units in 40-foot containers closer to sources of where the plastic is generated. Because the cost of logistics is a real issue for a lot of recyclers, right? Moving the material from point A to point B could be very expensive, especially when you realize that you're moving air. At the end of the day, what you're really moving is air inside the bottles, right? and you have to pay for it. So all of us that are recyclers are looking for ways to bring down the cost of logistics and be able to sensitize and raise awareness for more people to be able to understand that this thing has value and that it's not something to be thrown away. Because a lot of people still don't understand or are not as exposed and are aware as everybody that's listening to us right now. So they still think it's waste. And that's why, like I said, you can still see people in traffic who will wind down their, their window and toss out bottles that for us it actually has value.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Someone asked a question. This person is from Uganda. So the person said, thank you for the presentation. He said that they use plastics to design compounds, maybe at a site in Uganda. So he's asking that, is that a kind of recycling or degrading the environment?
So, I mean, and thank you from person from Uganda. So I think what you're talking about is the use of plastics to make interlocking tiles. And if my knowledge serves me well, the one thing I'll say is that, that process by itself, because you're melting down the plastic, not only are you melting down the plastic, but you're also adding like binding agents. And it could be everything from sand to anything that allows it to be able to, the plastic be able to bind together. That really allows it to retain the new states. So you don't see a lot of degradation happening once it goes through that chemical process. Again, based on the amount of analysis that has been done so far, maybe further analysis happens in the next 1 to 5 years, and researchers come up with a new research as to why those interlocking tiles are also contributing. Maybe people revise, but for now, I don't think there's any research saying that the melting down and the binding of the plastic into the interlocking tiles is harmful to the environment. Yeah, I think what people are worried about is when they're in the microplastics phase, the small where even chickens, even animals in the oceans can ingest them, where they're very small, so they start to break down. I think that is where people are really worried about. But once you melt it down and you again, like I said, you have a binder in the mix, that breaking down, I think, is definitely not an issue.
Good, great. So someone here is asking another question. The person says, how do you manage gas emissions from your factory in the course of productions?
I mean, that's a very excellent question, and it's something that we are faced with right now, because a lot of times when we use not so much emissions, not so much when we are using on-grid electricity, but for those who know Nigeria well, you know that a lot of times we don't have light, so we're very dependent on diesel for running our factory, and so we definitely do get a lot of not clean emissions. And so one of the things that we're working on right now is how do we transition to use of CNG or LNG, which is supposed to be cleaner than use of diesel or fossil fuel in our production factory. So I'll be honest and say it's an ongoing issue. I wish I could tell you that, oh yeah, we're doing CNG and LNG, and we're not, but it's something that we have identified, and it's something that we're addressing. But again, it's also an offset of sorts, right? Because of the fact that we're mopping up all this waste in the environment, and we're trying to decarbonize our process. Hopefully there's a bit of a balance out as well, because of the work we're doing, to sort of negate some of the emissions that we are also contributing to, if that makes sense. But it's a true question. I won't shy away from it, but we've identified it, and it's something that we're working towards solving.
Yes, thank you very much. And one other question, maybe the last question for the day. You see like about 5-6 persons had asked the same question already. So they are asking, how can they maybe connect to your organization, or, be a part of the recycling initiative. And some are even asking to how far they can maybe have a partnership, maybe like a supplier of, plastic and all of that.
Yeah, so I mean, we're definitely, and Maiwa, I think you have my information, right? Please share, or we can even, yeah, please share, and I can even put on the chat as well. I'll put it on the chat. It's please send me emails. I might direct it to somebody else because I'm not in country right now. But that email, you just, and just state clearly what you want. And we're looking for partners. We're looking for, and not just in Nigeria, but we're about to start a program across Africa where we're looking for partners. To start with training, really, but we want to, because everywhere I go, when I talk to women, especially, they're like, oh, my country is so dirty, my country is this. I'm like, every country on the African continent needs the support and the help. And we need to do more sensitization and awareness around allowing people to know that this is waste to wealth, right? And so what you're considering waste is actually something that can earn you money. So there's going to be a lot of training around that, a lot of, opening people's eyes to the possibilities. And so we're looking for people that we want to also connect with across the continent as well, that can serve as partners. So please, if you need any additional information, you have my email, but Maiwa also, and the guys from AIIDEV also have my information as well. I can share that for sure.
All right, so thank you very much, Madam Funto. It has really been a great section. And like always, for some of us that have had one or two opportunities to be under your section, we always know that value is always assured and the quality is always top notch. So you can tell now, while I was marketing you to the audience by the start of the section, I know right now that the reactions they are giving is definitely that they had a great value for their time this afternoon. And I just maybe one last word for a few curious ones that are already asking how can they tailor their career path, or what little actions can they take from their comfort zones to aid sustainable development within their community. I just wanted to give them maybe one last insight before you go off for this afternoon, man.
Sure. So I mean, and again, for anybody who's even spending time to be on this session, be part of this program, I would say just give yourself a pat on the back and clap for yourself, because that's the first step, right? Is wanting to do better or wanting to contribute, right? So kudos for doing that. I would say, I said this earlier on and I'll say it again, start where you are. There's some people who business might not be their thing, but they can be great advocates, right? They can be great ambassadors. They can be great people who can rally or mobilize people, right, to do the right thing. So you can, go to your schools, you can go to your universities, you can go to places of work and spread the message, and not, only about waste, about plastic pollution or whatever, but choose the SDG that you're passionate about, that this gets you up in the morning, and be the champion, the vocal champion and mobilizer around that. So you can start with advocacy. That's I think for me, one of the easiest ways is to maybe find schools around you and start to plant the seed for the next generation. For those who are entrepreneurially inclined, again, I would say start where you are, but start. Just do it. There's something called analysis paralysis, that you can be thinking about, until I raise 1 million naira before I start. No, if it's 20,000 naira that you have, start where you are. I can't, again, overemphasize the need for mentors, for people who in your area who you admire that are doing something good and tangible. Reach out to them and say, you know what, I've been watching you for a while. I love what you're doing. Can I be a mentee? It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be Maiwa. It could be someone in your community that you see that is a leader and are doing stuff. Reach out to them and say, you know what, I just want to learn more from you. How are you doing this? Ask them questions, right? And then the last thing I want to say is the power of whys, right? Keep on asking why. When you're asking someone why, at least ask the why 5 times, right? To sort of get to the nitty-gritty of that issue, right? And understand why there are problems, right? And, what can I do? Always ask the question, how can I, in my own small way, solve this problem? So I think, for me, it's starting where you are, finding the right mentor to support you, or the right leader to it doesn't have to be anything formal, just someone you admire in your community. And, being an ambassador and advocate to the work that is being done, be passionate about something and really commit to it and go after it and say, you know what, if it's gender equality, that is what I'm going to, put all my efforts on. If it's climate action, that is what I'm going to do. If it's, life underwater, that is what I'm going to be passionate about. And then be the best use. And then especially the young people, for me, internet and all this thing is a bit of a, social media. I have people who help me with it now. I don't, but for the younger people who TikTok is their life, Instagram is their life, that is a huge tool. Use it, Don't just be going and be reading Linda Ikeji or Paddy or all this, whatever. Use it as a tool for advocacy, right? Spread the word, leverage what other people are, the messaging other people are saying. And if the only thing you can do is to share or like or retweet, please do. I mean, and that again is the pathway to starting to find your voice. Because a lot of people don't have voices, but you can start to find a way to have a voice. When people know that, oh, this person, like someone like Zainab Ibrahim she loves everything plastic pollution. You see that people will start reaching out to you and say, we've noticed that all your forwards or retweets are about plastic pollution. It means that you are maybe an expert around this. Can you come and talk to young people around why you are such an advocate or ambassador for plastic pollution? And you start to sort of spread your wings and share information and whatnot. So again, I think for me, those are some of the points that I would say. Start where you are, be an advocate, have a voice, find somebody locally around you who you can, start to sort of just liaise with, who can serve as a mentor. And I promise you, once you start that, and just do it. Once you start, don't fall under the thing of analysis paralysis. Start, just do it, like Nike, just do it. Yeah. And I think you'll be well on your way.
Yes, thank you very much. I love that word. Just do it. Of course, it gets better, it gets clearer when you initiate it first sometimes. So, Madam Funto, we are very grateful this afternoon for this quite insightful section. It's really been an insightful one, an interesting one like that. In fact, comments on the chat says very wonderful presentation. I'm happy to have attended this section. Very excellent presentation, great advice and all of that. It's been amazing, very informative. I enjoyed the presentation today. That is Neba Ruben. And, people are saying, thank you, Ma, well done, and all of that. So on behalf of AIIDEV Africa, we want to appreciate you for your time, for your dedication, for your effort, and for your commitment to sustainable development within and beyond the borders of Africa. We really appreciate you. And on behalf of the leadership of AIIDEV Africa, we are saying a great thanks to you for this session this afternoon. And I understand that you have some other businesses to attend to. We still have like a few other things to discuss with the participants, but right now, you want to take a leave, it's fine by us, and we really appreciate this session this afternoon. And
thank you, and good luck to. Thank you so much, and good luck to everybody. I'm hoping to see you all at the top. So don't give up, just do it. Start something, and then thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, what do you feel like now? What do you feel like? I can already see some of you putting, it's an inspiring presentation. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So I see that, you're already asking for the email. And yes, in about a minute, the email is going to drop. Okay, so, you would have to just give us like a minute, and the email will just be right with you. So yes, I would have to tell you a few other things which will aid your progress on this program. And one of those things is your commitment. One thing we can assure you at AIIDEV Africa is we would definitely give you all the helps that you need. We promise that for each and every of your workshop, we are going to be giving experts, great mentors are those that will definitely be bringing to you. And we can definitely be sure that you would enjoy every bit of the workshops that you're going to be having on this project. So I'm very sure that the email is with you now. And yes, there's another thing to do. Just for us to be able to manage your commitments to the program, there is an attendance link which is going to be shared with you right now. An attendance link is going to be shared with you. So when you catch the attendance link, do well to fill in your data. And much beyond that, you know, I figured that there are so many. You understand now that in the last words of Madam Funto, she mentioned that some of you you have great potentials to become advocates within your environment. But there is even one thing that everybody has, and you know, we have an opportunity to. Everybody owns a social media platform, a social media account, and with that, nobody can, you know, hold you down to whatever you do with your social media account. So we want to help you all become an advocate, even if at first now it will be just social media advocates on this subject. So by the end of this section, we will be encouraging you to go on your social media, and you should just put you know, learning outcomes from today's section, things that stood out for you, what you have gained, insights that have been opened to you that you do not know about before. We want you to go on your social media platform. You post it there. People from your community, people from different parts of the world who are not on this program with you will have the opportunity to see that there's something good going on which you are benefiting. And probably by the next time we'll be opening calls again, they will join the next phase of the program. Much beyond that, we also want you to make sure to put each and every of the learning into practice. We don't just want you to you know, learn them and just go away for each and every day like that. We want you to put them into practice. We want you to think further on them and see areas wherein you can adopt them to initiate projects which will benefit not just you, but even your society at large. And also, by tomorrow, or maybe the latest by Monday, do expect an email from us which will detail to you the next line of action. And permit me to also inform you again that the next section is for next Friday, which will be about the same time that we started this section today. So please keep an eye on your email, and we will definitely supply you everything that you need, both the presentation, the links to the video, you know, the link to other resources that will be quite helpful to you. Everything will be sent to you. Yeah, I see many of you, you know, agitating that would have a kind of a WhatsApp group. Yeah, that is not a problem. We have it in plan for you that you have a WhatsApp group, but it's not now. The program is in phases, and when you are able to commit to that level, when you get to the phase where you will be able to accommodate you on the WhatsApp group, definitely, you know, we would come to that phase where you will join the WhatsApp group. So that is that about that. I see some of you asking about the attendance. I told you that the attendance is definitely going to be shared with you in the chat. I would like to believe that it has been shared already. Okay. I like to believe that it has been shared already. Oh, they're still asking for attendance link. Okay. If it is yet to be shared, one of our officers is going to share the attendance with you right now. In fact, let me just let me share with you right away. Let me share with you right away. Just you know, give me like a minute. Yes. Okay. Yes, you have the link to the attendance already. Please, I need you to confirm that you copied the attendance link already. I just dropped the attendance link. Okay, the attendance link has been sent. So I'll also be sending the email of Madam Funto right now. All right. So you have access to the two. I'll repost the two right now so that you can catch it. So make sure to sign in your attendance. It is very, very important. This is one of the modalities with which you'll be able to access your commitments to the program. Yeah. So and after this now, we'll be bringing the section to a close until next week. So I'm dropping the link for you now. Yes. All right. So everyone have you already have access to the link now. Yes. Okay. So everyone have access to the link now. I've shared the link. I've shared the link already. So for those that are saying they haven't seen the link, just watch out. I'm sharing it again, and this time for the last time. So make sure that you can catch this message now. Okay. All right. So attendance must be seen already. Okay. So I just sent out the last round of the attendance link. So make sure to look in the chat. For those that are saying attendance not seen, it's already in the chat. I've sent the attendance, like this is the last one I'm sending now. So please let everyone still calm so that they're able to catch the attendance link. This is the last one that I'm sending. Okay. So don't drop any message again so that you're able to see my message when I drop it. Do not type anything again so that when I drop the attendance now, you'll be able to see it. So I'm dropping the attendance now. Do not type anything again, please. All right. So this is the last time I'm dropping it. Okay, great. So I just dropped the last one now. All right. So yes, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for making out time to join this session this afternoon. We appreciate your commitment, we appreciate your time, and we hope that next week we are going to have you join us again like you have joined us today. I wish you all the best, and I say you do have a great weekend. And for the last time, I'm just dropping the attendance now. So if you're able to catch it, yes, it is good. All right, you do have a pleasant evening, everyone. Bye for now.